and providing guns to the Iraqi government. And then Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki thumbing his nose at the United States push for him to share power today. Barbara Starr begins our coverage out front at the Pentagon.
As Iraqi army forces battle ISIS militants west of Baghdad, there is disturbing evidence the war is now not limited by borders. In the Iraqi town of Al-Qaim, the carnage of Syrian airstrikes inside Iraq. At least 57 Iraqis killed, more than 120 wounded up and down Iraq's border with Syria after Syria launched airstrikes inside Iraq. The U.S. doesn't know yet if Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, who fights ISIS inside Syria, has formally joined forces with Iraqi Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki's regime. Iran also deepening its involvement, flying surveillance drones over Iraq, sending in its own military advisors, just as the U.S. does the same. With the Iranians now trying to mobilize thousands of Shia militiamen in southern Iraq, the war is widening.
It's been widened, obviously, in the last days with the reports of some people from Iran being engaged in Iraq, with perhaps even some Syrian activities therein. That's one of the reasons why government formation is so urgent.
Secretary of State John Kerry is pushing for a unity government to be formed under Iraq's constitution. Kerry contends Maliki is committed to that, but the Iraqi prime minister rejected any idea of a temporary emergency government to deal with the crisis, again suggesting Iraq's troubles were due to a conspiracy.
It is no secret to all Iraqis the dangerous goal behind the call for the formation of a national salvation government, as they call it. It is simply an attempt by those who rebel against the Constitution to end the young democratic process.
You know, the real question now, the real urgency is the military lay of the land inside of Iraq, whether Iraqi forces will be able to push ISIS back from the areas they are controlling, whether Iraqi forces can even hold on to what they have right now. And of course, the greatest urgency is for the Iraqi forces to be able to hold on to Baghdad. Aaron?
Right, Barbara Starr, thank you very much. And a closed-door briefing with General David Petraeus just wrapped up on Capitol Hill. Petraeus, of course, was the top commander in Iraq. And joining me now is Republican Congressman from Texas, Mac Thornberry. He's vice chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, just came out of that briefing. And, sir, what did the general tell you?
He said it's a mess. And he went into some detail about the complexities, and you just heard some of them with Barbara Starr's report. The danger of a safe haven for terrorists from which attacks would be launched against us, but also the danger of this broader sectarian war going on through the whole region. There are no easy answers. Did General Petraeus say there's a real threat by ISIS to the United States homeland? I don't want to get into quoting him exactly. He needs to speak for himself. There's no question there's a real threat to the U.S. homeland because a number of people with European and American passports have gone to Syria to fight there, and it will be relatively easy for them to come to Europe and to the United States, and that's different from the way it used to be. It's different from the way it was in Afghanistan.
Right. Well, when you talk about these people, that they would have U.S. passports. But this brings me to the crucial question here, which is, I'm not surprised you just had that concern, because you have said recently you're concerned that these terrorists are going to attack the United States. So given that you see a direct threat to the U.S. homeland, are you then willing to say that the United States needs to put boots on the ground, as many Americans as it takes, to stop ISIS before there is a terrorist attack in this country?
No, because there's a tremendous cost to that, too. And so if we, the United States, are going to do something militarily, the question is, what can we do that would be effective and also not contribute to this sectarian civil war? So, in other words, you may think you're helping on one hand and you make the other problem even worse. That's part of the reason this is so complex, is there is not a clear answer even to protect U.S. national security interests here.